Welcome to the next lecture of our Getting Started with Bash Scripting video series. And in this lecture, we are going to talk about looping. So we have been discussing some of the foundational element of the Bash scripting so far, but looping is one of the most important concepts that we have to understand how we can loop through not just an array or a file list, but also so many different elements within our operating system. So I'll talk about them one by one, but to get started with, let's understand what is this loop. So basically, if you're from a background of any other programming language like C#, Java, Python, or even Go, you might have seen there will be different looping types available, like for loop, for each loop, while loop, do while loop, something like that. And similarly, even in Bash, we have something like for loop, for each loop, and while loop. And as that said, the first loop that we're going to be discussing in this particular lecture is going to be the for loop. So I'm just going to use the keyword for here for the for each loop as well. And then I'm going to specify a variable like I, and then in is going to be a keyword as well in the for each loop. And then I'm going to specify what I'm going to be looking for. For example, if I wanted to look all the different directories exist in the user/bin directory, then I can just put the /user/bin/star, and then I'm going to put a semicolon there just to end this particular loop line, and then I can do a do and echo of dollar, and I'm gonna say done. So this is the for each loop syntax itself. So for I in the directory path, and then I'm going to say do, and then echo, and then done. And once you do that, you will notice that it is going to print all the files or directories which is there within the bin folder of the user over here. And the similar thing you can do with your own folder structure as well, and that is how the for loop is going to print. And now if you can think that if I want to print all the files which has an extension which starts from, for example, CA or CD or something like that, then I can print them as well. So let's go down a bit over here, and I'm gonna use one more regular expression here where I'm gonna say CA star or whatever, and if I hit enter, you'll notice that all the values are going to be printed for us over here. So this is how the for each loop works in the Bash over here. We can also export these values out from this particular loop to a file if we wanted to. So just do a parenthesis. Remember the compound way of doing it we just did during the piping operation and the redirection operation in our earlier lectures. That's exactly what I'm going to do over here. And then I'm going to say all ca.txt, and now if I just do an all ca.txt, you'll notice that all these values are going to be printed as. So we can also do a redirect from the standard output to a file like this. The next operation that we're going to do is going to be the while loop. So in order to do something in the while loop, I'm just gonna go a bit different this time. I'm just gonna say I is equal to 0, and while is the keyword where I'm gonna say while $I is less than 3, for example, then you just do an echo for me to say that the number which is less than 3 is like that, right? So we can do this, and then I need to increment the I value so that I can just not keep looping forever. So I have to increment that, and once I do the increment over here, you can see that I'm using a double parentheses to do that operation for me, and I'm gonna do a done and hit enter. So you see that the number which is less than 3 is 0, 3 is 1, and 3 is 2. So this is how I can keep looping using the while loop here. So this is another looping that is available within our Bash scripting. And now if you wanted to say that I wanted to print all the values out from a while loop while I keep getting them, I can do that as well. So I can just do a while, and now for the first time we're going to introduce a keyword called as read, which is going to perform a read operation from an standard input, and this is very helpful as well. We'll mostly use this read command from our upcoming videos of this particular series, but for now you will notice that the read is going to read the line from the standard input, so just remember that. And I'm gonna say $line, and I'm gonna say done. And you remember this end that we discussed in our earlier lectures while we were discussing about the input redirection? I'm going to do the exact thing as well. So I'm just going to say I am going to get from standard input, and I'm going to print it out. So I'm going to type the end, and you see that these both lines start to print up over here, and this is happening because of the while loop that we have got over here. So it just gets all the value and then it just prints up using the echo that we have, the printing line colon, and then this value has been printed. So this is how the while loop actually works. So it's going to keep looping through all the read statement, and then it's going to print up for us.